not happen. The way this live stream almost did not happen today. I did absolutely no promotion at all. Was not even sure until maybe like an hour before that I was even going to go live. So let's see who is all joining us again, because I definitely did not talk about this. I didn't even think this would even happen. I'm trying to get my necklace together. Let's see who's here. What's going on with my microphone? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Where is the other piece? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get this thing settled. I'm sorry, you guys. This is again the Ask Me Anything. What would you like to know about moving abroad? What would you like to know about my life here in Paris? I'm an open book. What would you like to know? What questions do you have about being a digital nomad, about moving to whatever country that you are interested in moving in, about the process of moving abroad, about getting rid of your stuff to move abroad, about transitioning from the US to your other country, about traveling more abroad. Do you want to do a thing of where you do, travel first and then try to figure out where you want to go? You begin in traveling internationally more. That's really how I kind of got started with this. My first solo international trip was in 2017, and it happened to be here to Paris. And I had traveled internationally before, but they weren't solo trips. And so this was my first go round. And in 2017, I just took that even further and began traveling other places, other countries, and began traveling around the world for the most part solo. So what questions do you guys have? I'll wait until a few folks hop on. Again, I did zero promotions for this. So I'm just hoping you guys didn't forget about me, 12 noon Eastern time on Sundays, because I promise you, I was not going to go live. So let's see who we got. Even if it's one person, okay? That one person, listen, they're going to get all my wisdom and knowledge and all that good stuff. Let's see who is joining us. Come on, y'all. Come on. Who's joining us? I'm just going to start talking. I will start talking. I hope you guys have had a great week. I've had a good week, but challenging week. So I have made some travel plans, booked South Africa. I will be going to South Africa with my daughter in the end of August to early September. I will be visiting Turkey, Antalya, not Istanbul, like where I was at last week. I will be visiting Turkey. It'll be in September. And London is still planned for next month. Now, I gotta watch and see how much the train tickets are going to be, because if it's going to be too much, I may not be able to go. I'm going to a concert to see Corinne Bailey Rae. So I already got the tickets, but the UK is notorious, and just train tickets in the summertime are really expensive. They can be. So I'm either going to fly or the train, and how much that costs is going to determine what I'm doing and when, because I've got South Africa. South Africa is on the books. Turkey will be on the books. It'll be like the Turkish Riviera. It's on the books for September, mid-September. So I'm looking forward to that. Who we got on here? Who do we have? I see somebody's on here. Hello. Don't be afraid to say hello. Say hello in the chat. Again, zero promotion for this one. So I'm just looking to see who is joining. But I will start talking. I will start chatting away. Let's see. Let's go ahead and let's get it started, y'all. So the topic for today, this is definitely the Ask Me Anything series. If you've got any questions that you'd like to have answered about moving abroad, about traveling abroad, about being a digital nomad, about saving, about getting rid of your stuff in the US, about making that mind shift, the mindset shift change, let me know. One of the things that I'm going to talk about today is going along the lines of doing your research, even if you before you move, but also after you move. So, one of the things that has been happening in the news recently, like the whole French political table is definitely shaking, right? There was the June 9th EU election results, which were very surprising. And so it was a landslide victory by the far right here in France. And it really is like a huge political earthquake. So, what happens is the EU has elections, and each country in the EU votes for a representative in the EU Parliament. France is officially a two-party system. Now, the challenge is coming in because the far right on June 9th won. The far right, or the National Rally Party, it won by a majority of 31%. And so what happened is 43% of people in France voted, only 43%. So as a result, French President Emile Macron, he dissolved the parliament, and he's calling for special elections June 30th and July 7th to re-elect parliament. Now, this is a huge political gamble, y'all. It's a huge political gamble, huge political risk. This would be similar to if President Joe Biden dissolved the House of Representatives. It would be that type of a deal. Okay, so what this essentially is what's essentially happening is that Macron is weaker in power. He is thought to be running for office in again in 2027. He officially called the results grim and that they cannot be ignored. It's important to point out that Macron was defeated by Marie Le Pen, and Marie Le Pen is the far right conservative party. She has rebranded herself from the openly racist and xenophobic party that she was in previously. Now she is more quote unquote mainstream. The reason why this is huge political news, just from a standpoint of this far right, it's again growing throughout Europe, growing throughout France. This far right party, they are focusing on, they have come into power based upon immigration, based upon them wanting to see France as not being a social haven for asylum seekers or immigrants, talking about things like crime, again, crime and immigration being the main hotspot issues. So with Macron's actions, now it's not unprecedented, but again, it is a gamble. So there will be special elections June 30th and July 7th. And so I think a lot of times, especially us as Americans, we look at Europe like this safe haven. And this victory by the right is showing that maybe not, right? That these conservative sentiments are growing. Hey, Khalid, these conservative sentiments are growing, and especially is concerning if you are African, if you are African or you are Arab, okay? And it is concerning because the French, according to polls, these are some of the issues they're concerned about: immigration, they're concerned about the economy, they're concerned about education, they're concerned about not having the same type of lifestyle, okay? And if you think about it, the results are very much, there's some very similar parallels to the US, okay? It's interesting to note that in the US, we've already kind of dealt with this in terms of with Trump. Hey, Des, bonjour. We've already dealt with this with Trump. So it is interesting seeing this going down in a different country, right? We know that traditionally France is thought of as being much more liberal, but the political polls are showing that that is not the case. I'm good, Khalid. How are you? I hope you're having a good morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. But we're showing that, look, those polls are showing that people in France are increasingly worried about certain things. And this is the reason why the far right has been able to come into power, because they are running on this platform. They're running on issues of like dual nationality. They're wanting to get rid of that. We know all of the African and countries in on the continent, whether they are whether the countries they've colonized, right? We know Sava Khalid. We know the countries like Tunisia. We know the countries like Cameroon, Algeria, Morocco. There are a number of countries that the French have colonized. We cannot forget about Haiti, right? There are a number of countries in the Caribbean and in Africa that they have colonized and continue to take advantage of. So it is interesting that this platform is even that this is happening, because on one level, again, they are very much um, shown. If you let some French people tell you, they'll say, "Oh, well, we're all French." But I have even said on this channel before that is not true. That is not true at all. We are not all French. There are, not saying we, but people here are not all French. They definitely make a distinction. And if you are from any of those countries in Africa, or you are, there is a clear distinction, or the Caribbean with brown and black people. There is a clear distinction. So it is very interesting from an American perspective, and it's something that I am taking a close look at. I will say that being from America and dealing with what we've dealt with since 2016, it is disheartening to see them heading toward this direction. Because look at the platform that Trump ran on. The same things: anti immigration, right? The economy, right? The same things are happening here. The same things are happening in France. Look at how Trump used to be a Democrat and rebranded himself to be a Republican, which is the same thing like Marie Le Pen is now doing. Joseph Bardella, he's running. He's a favorite of the far right. So France is increasingly becoming more far right. Now, how will that affect you if you are looking at immigrating to France? Because I'm very clear on this. I'm an immigrant here. Khalid, you are from Morocco. Okay. So I'm sure you definitely understand some of the things that are going on, and I appreciate your perspective. I'm coming at it from a slightly different perspective, being, an American who has been here for a year and a half officially, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years this summer. So I'm looking at it from a slightly different perspective, but I definitely appreciate your perspective. For me as an American, it is something that I am in. I will be applying for my year 3 visa in August, at the end of August. Y'all already know I'm trying to get to that 5-year residency. I am not a citizen here, right? Um, the French government moves as slow as a bowl of cold oatmeal. So on one hand, they have made a very clear distinction in terms of which immigrants they're talking about, and those tend to be, again, if you are African or Arab, and who they want to place limitations on. Um, it is very, very clear. So the thing is, for me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, if plans go the way I'm expecting them to go, I'll get that 5-year residency in a couple of years. I don't believe they are trying to stem the flow of U.S. immigrants. That's what I'm thinking so far. Um, it's just like I spoke about before, having that U.S. American passport privilege. It is real. Oh, okay, Khalid, you don't speak English, you speak French. Je ne parle pas français. Je suis débutante en français. Very little. My French needs work. So, um, but yeah, it is definitely different. It is a bit disheartening seeing, France going toward a more conservative approach, right? And just seeing overall, we know that fascism overall, the right wing, is growing throughout Europe. And so, specifically, this party is called the National Rally Party, and it is what Marie Le Pen is the face of. She could very well become president. Now, Macron, in this latest action, what he's doing is hoping with this special election. It's a huge political gamble. This hasn't happened since, I think, like 97. It is not unprecedented, but it is definitely a major thing for him to do. He is hoping that essentially he's trying to not give them power, and they would be in power in name only, but not in terms of legislative power. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not, but it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with this whole situation. So I do think it's interesting that, and I'm reading from my notes here. I do think it's interesting that, you know, the amount, the level of the victory, right? They won by like 31%. And this face of a new far right, again, focusing on crime. Macron himself is largely unpopular, and it's just really weakening his power. Is weakening his power, is weakening his power base. And but what we're showing, according to polls that I have looked into, it's showing that um, first of all, the far right is leading in many major cities. They're getting more support by middle and upper class, by top business executives. Now, the party's predecessor was called the Front National, and it definitely was more upfront about their xenophobia and racism. And the thing that's interesting, what these polls are showing, is that folks are more concerned about, they're concerned about social decline, they're concerned about the job market, the economy, declining family units. They're concerned about not being able to live better than previous generations. Um, and this hostility toward immigrants, and growing racism amongst the French has definitely driven the support of that particular, the far right party. So it's definitely something I'm watching, and I am monitoring. The From what these polls and election results are showing is the French have, the majority have put a clear line in the sand on who they want here and who they don't, and who they want to, who they're having quote unquote issues with. And we know that a lot of that is steeped in racism, even though they don't want to admit it, but it is. So it is, again, something I am following, I am watching. Is one of those reasons why I'm a fan of, look, you have to be able to move around. So I'm already looking at, okay, so what is, I'm watching the results, watching to see what happens, right? How that will affect me. Knowing, again, that French bureaucracy is so entirely slow. Remember, there is no work visa here, okay? There is no quote unquote work visa. I find it extremely interesting that the people that they are trying to limit social services and immigration are the same people that they often rely on to work certain jobs. They cannot hire enough people to work certain positions here in the French economy things that need to get done, manufacturing wise and others, right? So it is the similarities between the US and France are becoming closer, right? Because we know in the US it is the same thing. Immigration could end tomorrow if big business in the US would stop it. But instead, they want certain people to pick your strawberries, to pick your chicken, right? To perform certain tasks, construction, et cetera, right? So it's one of those things of where the parallels are definitely there. And I think that part is probably the more disturbing part, because they are definitely following the US's lead on this one. And so you're seeing that like in real time. You're seeing it in real time. So it's interesting that even the things that they're concerned about are the same things that people, in the who support Trump often talk about. The same talking points, right? I don't even know, is Trump running for office or not? I mean, I know he was convicted, but what's going on? I mean, it's like, is he running or not? Is Joe Biden running? I haven't. It's so much back and forth. I can barely keep up with it. The man is not in jail yet. We do know that, but he is still on the ballot. He is still on the ballot. So it's crazy, Des. It's like, this is like dystopia. Like, this is wild. It is wild. So it's one of those reasons why, if you're looking at moving abroad, if you're looking at traveling abroad, these are things that you do have to, research and be aware of. Would I have said maybe 2 years ago this would happen? Probably not. I think Le Pen, she lost against Macron. I think, I want to say it was 2023, but it was a narrow, she lost by a smaller margin. So the writing was on the wall. it's one of those things where, you have to stay aware of things going on around you politically, because, never forget that when you're in someone else's country, you are an immigrant, right? We are guests. I'm a guest here. I'm very clear on that. So we have to do, it's like having to do our research and understanding what's going on and keeping abreast of everything. Again, if you had told me 2 years ago this would happen, I probably would have been like, okay, I don't think it will. But again, you never know. And I'm looking specifically at how it's going to impact me, how it's going to impact me as an American citizen living here. I, at this point, don't plan on getting my citizenship for France. I have a visa. You guys know I'm on a 1-year visa. I'll go for the third renewal in August. So, but I promise you, like I said, the French government moves as slow as a bowl of cold oatmeal. They changed some language requirements. Literally, language schools have not caught up to those requirements yet. So any changes it's going to be a while for things to implement. And again, remember, there is no work visa here. There is no digital nomad visa. Thailand this week just announced a 5-year digital visa that they are rolling out. We're seeing many countries who are rolling out digital nomad visas, right? They are trying to get some of this digital tech money and digital tech talent in their countries. There is a brain drain. France is actually experiencing that. Folks are leaving here. So that's the crazy part. Folks are leaving here. Folks who can are leaving. They're going somewhere else, right? They're getting paid more. They're getting access to different opportunities. It's all very, very interesting, right? But folks are also leaving the US too. Let's not be, I mean, I think it's almost an estimated 1.5 million Americans who are living outside the US, probably unofficially. So, but France is facing all these issues. They're facing, issues of the economy, folks not wanting to be here, folks wanting to move, go other places, again, earn more money. We know the French economy, in terms of how much they earn, is a lot less. Their taxes are high here, 42% income tax rate. If you have a business, it's a 50% income tax rate. So I'm not saying people aren't complaining, because they definitely are. But some of the issues that folks are having, because when I talk to people here, they're always like, why did you move here? Because they see it like, I'm trying to get away. Why are you not trying to, why did you come here? So it's realizing that my life is very different here. You know, like my partner, who happens to be from the Ivory Coast, he has been worried about this for a long time, and he has been warning about how conservative that France is becoming. Because yeah, he's definitely been watching and monitoring it. Hey, in my travels, how are you? So it's just one of those things. It totally depends on your perspective, and kind of where you find yourself. Your perspective definitely counts, and all of our perspectives may not be the same. For someone like him, he's looking at it and saying, okay, folks in this country are getting more conservative. They're getting, yes, thank you, Des. We're definitely trying to stay safe. I look at it like, they don't know what I am until I open my mouth, okay? They don't know. And so, yeah, and definitely Bardella, yes, in my travels. He is, I want to say, the wild card, but he's a favorite, right? So I had to just kind of do my research on some of this, because I was hearing all these little bits and pieces. And this whole thing was definitely a landslide victory. I don't want to say it was totally unexpected, but I think it caught people by surprise. Um, I think, Macron is calling everybody's, he's kind of pulling everybody's card. So it is, who knows if this is going to work? Some of the political pundits here are like, what is Macron doing? Who dissolves the National Assembly? Like, who does this? But it is not unheard of. It's either going to work or it's not. It'll be an epic failure, or this could potentially be a success. But Macron is losing power. And so that's not a very good sign. Yes, in my travels, they see all this melanin first. That is what they see first. They definitely not saying I'm from Europe, okay? So listen, they see the melanin first. Absolutely, they do. Yeah, and I understand your friends are nervous, and I definitely get it. I think because it's a different way of life, this is not what, quote unquote, what France has usually stood for, right? And so it is becoming more like the US. For me, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, we've dealt with this in the US since 2016. We know racism in America kills, right? Um, and so it is sad to see it happening, right? Because we've been through this and we're going through this again. Like, who knows what's going to happen with this election? I was just watching a video on TikTok and it was saying that the S&P has predicted, like, almost with 100% accuracy, the president for like at least for almost for a long time, for decades and decades, and how if the markets go up, usually the incumbent will stay in office. And that is what we're seeing happening. I don't know how many of you all are investors, but the past couple weeks have been crazy bananas on the S&P. So yeah, this was just like a TikTok video talking about how the stock market has successfully predicted, like, almost with a 90% accuracy since like 1928. So I don't know. I haven't gone back to check into all those numbers, but I do find it pretty interesting. So we're just it's kind of like just like the US, right? There is so much political uncertainty right now. We don't know what's going to happen in the US, and we also don't know what's going to happen here. Don't know what's going to happen. I know that I'm watching, and again, always will stay safe. Always will move around if I have to. I'm looking like, okay, what's number 2 or 3? Where else do I want to go? If I have to make a move, you already know I'm trying to get my 5-year residency. And so once I secure that, am I going to stay here? What do I want to do? It's one of those things of being under the Trump administration. We know how bad it can get. And I honestly feel like I survived that, right? I survived. So, yes, it's a little bit different thing here because, again, being an immigrant here, very, very different. So it's a difference. But listen, I'm just one day at a time. I can't take it any more days than that. One day at a time. That's all I can do. Any questions you guys have? Any questions? I've been talking for like 30 minutes now. Any questions you have? I know I said I would do this last week, but I think this week for sure, I'm going to do at least 1 or 2 co-work with me sessions. Come on and co-work with me as I start, continue rather writing this ebook. I could use the motivation and the support. It'll help me. So I'm thinking that Monday I'll do a quick co-work with me session, a quick YouTube live co-working with me as I'm writing the book. We'll chit chat a little bit. Absolutely. So we'll see about that. Yep. Des, you're right. It is sad. It is, yeah. I mean, trying to live my best life, right? Not going to let that stop me. But yeah, I will move around if needed. I honestly don't think a lot of changes will happen as it relates to US immigration because, again, the amount of money that we're making, and some of the tech talent and things that we're bringing to France, it's a money issue. But yeah, we will see. Never say never, right? From what my immigration attorney told me, that our applications, as long as we're making the minimum income requirements, are typically rubber stamped. So we will see. Again, remember, you guys know that we, in terms of from an economic standpoint, our incomes are above like the average income here in France. Des, thank you for asking. Yes, a cup of coffee. What is it? It's buy me a coffee. Let me put it in the chat. Hold on. I'll put it in the chat how you guys if you'd like to support the channel, hold on, let me go log on. If you would like to support this channel, again, this channel you already know, primarily talking to Black women who want to solo travel and or move abroad. One of the best ways that you can support me is by sharing this channel, this video, this channel with people that you know. And the other way is it's called buymeacoffee.com. Hold on, I did not log on. Let me log on to the chat. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, you guys. So it's like buymeacoffee.com. And thank you to those. There are a number of you who have supported the channel with the information that I've provided. You have made some donations. Thank you so much. What is it called? Let me get my URL. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, you guys. But yeah, that is one way you can support the channel. Thank you so much, Des. It's buymeacoffee.com, Tanisha Mercer, but hold on. If I can spell this. But yeah, this definitely helps me as I am building out this channel. And I'm hoping that I'm giving you the information that you need. Like I said earlier, I almost did not come on today. I was like, oh, I just wasn't, I don't know. I was in a mood. Okay. So thank you for I'm putting that link right now in the chat for those of you who would like to support. Any donations are definitely well appreciated. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate anything and everything that you can do. If you're not able to donate, if you're able to share this channel simply with people, I appreciate that as well. If you, even by liking this video, by commenting, all of that helps me, because what it does is it tells YouTube that this is information that folks want to actually hear and watch and see and read. And it shares the channel out to more people, you know, the YouTube algorithm. So I appreciate every and any way that you all are able to help me. You all have provided some great advice to me in my travels. Definitely great advice. Please, in my travels, please put in the chat your link to your podcast. Please, excuse me, please include that in the chat. So there are a number of you who I've talked to personally on the phone, emails, chats, whatever. So please, thank you so much for that. You all actually help me and support me a lot on those days when I'm like, is this working? Do people want to hear what I have to say? I definitely have those moments. So again, with this live stream, I did no promotion at all. Usually I'm posting on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and also on YouTube trying to promote it. I didn't do that this time around. So I thank you for all of you who are here listening to the sound of my voice and watching me. So yeah, what else do we want to talk about, you guys? If we don't have anything, listen, I will go ahead and hop off. What other questions do you have? I just want to open it up for those of you who may have any questions. Please don't be afraid to ask. Hop in the chat. Hop in the chat. Let's see. How are things going with me? One other thing, in my travels, we've talked about language and me learning the language. So I'm beginning this language program. Let me see. I have it right here. So, and for those of you who are looking at coming to France, right? Des, you may want to look at this if you don't take language classes already. Or maybe you're fluent, I don't know. But this is the program that I'm taking right now. It's Michelle Thomas. I don't know if you guys can see it. This is the advanced one. This is a program that my neighbor gave me. The mistake I made was just not realizing how advanced this was, that I should have, I played this and got so overwhelmed. So what I ended up doing is Audible had a sale. And I bought the intro course, and I've been doing the introductory course. So my goal is I've got to do the introductory and then the intermediate, and this is the advanced. I totally made the mistake of listening to this first, which was so overwhelming. So I am doing this now. I'm actively I'm communicating more in French, right? and trying to make it make sense. I love this particular program because it really focuses on natural language. It's no repetition. It's not a lot of memorization. He does a totally different language program, a language style of learning. So, yeah, this is what I am using right now to learn this language, and then finding out just how many words in the English language are actually French has been mind blowing. Like there's definitely a we know English is a mix of languages, but there are so many words. I think like 40% of words in the English language are actually French. I might have that percentage wrong, but it's a lot, a lot. In my travels, you're in an artist residency, 400 acres. Yes. Oh, I'm glad I could help you in my travels. Definitely looking forward to it. You already know. Let me know when you I need to follow your channel because I don't know if I do. I need to follow your channel. I definitely want to support you in your YouTube efforts in your journey as well. So definitely let us know when you get that, those videos up. We want to support you as well. So yeah, in my travels is the French language. She's a French language expert. She's lived here. And so I'm just trying to get look a basic comprehension to where I know what's going on a little bit more than what I do because I don't. And so I've been able to like recently knowing what's going on Metro without like knowing make announcements being made, I can understand. So I feel like I'm advancing, but again, I'm obviously have whole lot of work to do. Whole lot of work to do ahead of me. So I'm trying to get to just a basic level. I guess is it B1 or something like that? A B level or whatever, just where I can when I because the language requirements are changing. I want to be able to pass whatever exam they have for me to get that 5-year residency. So that is what I am looking forward to doing. So yeah, definitely keep us posted in my travels on your YouTube videos and your podcast. Keep us posted and let us know. You're definitely welcome to include it in the chat. So yeah, but yeah, for those of you, if you're looking at, I know there are many different, language models out there, and you do have to go with what, works well for you. I know a lot of people will use like Pimsleur or what is it like? You got Rosetta Stone, you got Duolingo. There's a lot of them, right? Um, but this particular program is one that I read about a couple years ago. People were raving about. And so my neighbor here was lucky enough to give me this. It's just that this is the more advanced version and I need the baby steps. I need all the hand holding, the elementary. Talk to me like I am a French child, okay? Because, I see little children and their vocabulary is better than mine, which that's not good. Okay. So yeah, I'm working on that. So that is what I'm doing this week. That is what I'm doing this week. I see the little French kids and they're out here talking and especially when I have my dog, right? They're pointing, and one of my neighbors has a little toddler. I think he's probably like a year and a half, maybe. He just started walking, so he might not even be a year and a half. And it's like this child has a better vocabulary than probably I do. So I'm trying to get it together one day at a time. One day at a time. So yeah. It is amazing when you think about language and how you take it for granted, your native language, right? How you immerse yourself. Thank you in my travels. Listen, I definitely thank you for that offer of help. Yes, we're gonna have to talk. I'm gonna have to talk to you on offline because um, yeah, I definitely listen. I'm not afraid, and I'm not one to say I don't need help because I definitely need it. Thank you for your offer. Des, children's books. Listen, I have gone on YouTube. I've done the YouTube, the French, the alphabet songs. I've done, yeah, cartoons. I listen to watch those because it's really elementary, but it helps. It definitely does help. We got to do what works for us, right? And I understand it'll be slower, but it'll be better. However ways we can get that in. I know for me, even with Netflix, right? Like doing the subtitles, it helped for whatever reason. And I'm sure in my travels she knows this and can speak to it. But like being able to, the visual part and seeing the auditory and the visual, is a good thing for me. So it's, things are starting to kind of click a little bit, but I still got a long ways to go. In my travels, is saying she loves children's books for language learning. Yes, it is very basic and simple, but I think we, make it harder than it has to be. I know I have. So sometimes taking a simpler step back is a good thing. And think about how we learned as kids, right? We had what, Schoolhouse Rock, right? I mean, we learned, sentence structure, grammar, all of that stuff. So sometimes I think, we think, oh, I'm an adult, I'm a big adult, but sometimes those elementary things are not bad, especially when it's learning a language that is not ours. Every little bit helps. That's exactly it, Des. That's what I'm trying to do. Every little bit helps. And what I need to do also is to do more like music, right? Because that's another way of learning, right? So getting it in my head that way, like listening to more, and I listen to French music, but maybe more actively listening. I'm dancing while it's going on. So I need to do like more, like more looking at the lyrics, more really paying attention and kind of to really to get it, right? The Romper Room, the Gray Space Creator, listen, Electric Company, all of that stuff. All of that stuff. I can remember even like my kids, like we would do the like the nursery rhymes in the car, all of that stuff, right? Like, yeah, all those things are really helpful, I think. And I know we're in 2024, the internet and all that good stuff, but sometimes simple does indeed work. I like simple with a combination of technology. So, um, yep, it is definitely, it's a journey, it's an experience. So, yeah, I am continuing on the language front, right? So continuing to learn every day is an adventure. My French friend here, she just is like, why do you not speak French? Every day she'll like, when I see her, I don't see her every day, but she'll be like, okay, come on, let's do what, she'll encourage me to speak French, right? And so what I've been doing even with my partner is repeating things in French to him, or asking him like, okay, how do you say this? I'll say the word first in English, and then we'll kind of go over in French how to say certain things. So it's a process. I'm trying to get there, y'all. I'm trying to get there. I'm going to be able to speak halfway decent one day, right? I want to know when somebody's talking about me. I want to know when somebody's talking about me. I want to know what they're saying. That's my thing. I'm nosy. So, Des, you like old music. Okay. 70s to 90s. So you're talking about like what, Motown, New Jack Swing, house music. Yes. They love house music here. I love house music. You love Justice, but their songs are sung in English. Okay, I'm not familiar with them, but listen, we got to go with what we like, right? The good thing about the good thing that you're gonna love, Des, when you move here is that there is definitely an appreciation for old school music here. Unlike, I mean, you know how Europe is. They love old school, but I promise you, last night I went to a club, more like a lounge, not really a club. But it's called Cafe Oz. And man, like there was a performer there. She lives in Paris, but she is a black woman from New Jersey. She did an incredible set, right? And then um she like people were dancing, and they were dancing to Michael Jackson, all the old stuff. They love it here. Justice, oh, French DJs. I have to check them out, Des. Now, Strame, I have heard of Strame, Des. I've heard of Strame, but listen, I got to get it together, okay? I got some learning I got to do. So, both of you just gave me some inspiration. Strame, I've heard of him. Justice, I got some things I need to check out. Oh, La Nubians, yes, I'm definitely familiar with them. Do they perform still? I'm wondering because I haven't heard from them in a minute. So yeah, I'm familiar. I mean, classic for sure, for sure. But the one thing is that the music scene here is one in which You see people dancing to old school stuff. You see people playing old school. Like literally, the other day, this guy had his window open in my neighborhood, and he was having like a mini party. He was playing like Michael Jackson, New Jack Swing, remember the time. He was playing Belle Biv DeVoe, like just it was definitely like his own little party, but old school stuff is big here. And it's always surprising how big it is too. It's always surprising. So you'll love it, coming here when you just go, if you're hanging out, you'll just folks are playing old school stuff. So Motown, all of that 70s soul, 80s punk, all of that stuff. So you guys have given me some great music that I need to check into. Great DJs. I will check into Strame and also Justice. So thank you for those suggestions. Let's see. Anything else? Anything else? Gems. Okay. Is it Gims? Okay, Des, I gotta check them out. Listen, I need to take my notes, take some notes, all right? I'll go through this chat and write down who I need to check out on YouTube, Apple Music, or whatever. So, what else we got going on? Anything else? This has been a great musical conversation. So, I need to, and again, I think these are all things that'll help me as I'm, of course, building out my language model, right? But what else do we want to talk about? We are 46 minutes in. Anything else? Any other questions you guys have? Des, please check it out. Let me put it in the chat also, because I'll be talking and forget. This guy, so the Michelle Thomas method. I mean, Michelle is a man. And I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of it, but yeah, he actually passed away in 2005, but he was well known. His language method was what ended up happening is that he was a survivor. I believe he was a survivor of, I want to say like, I think it was like concentration camps or something like that. But he was a war survivor. I'll just say it that way. And he eventually, from the horrors of that, the story goes, is that after surviving that, he went on to develop this new, at the time, language method. And so he moved to the US, opened a school in Beverly Hills. He taught many of your top celebrities. He's worked with Barbara Streisand, Woody Allen, and a lot of other people, right? And so he has a renowned language school. The man died in 2005. That was 20 years ago. His stuff is still being sold and still being talked about. So I'm putting his name in the chat. He's got the thing is that it's a little weird because it's actually like a CD, and it's like I had to actually buy a CD player. I don't know why they haven't updated and modernized some things. They do have an app, but it's being worked on and developed. They just put it on Audible in March. So the Audible had a sale. And I got it. I'll put it in the chat though. Check it out on Audible. And you buy the lessons, and if you want to do like a review or a workshop or whatever, I guess there's a separate, those are sold separately on Audible. For me, I needed to make it convenient because this CD has been I've had this for like a year. And the problem I've had is that I need something convenient, like when I'm on the train, when I'm doing whatever. The CD player I have, which I had to buy, I'm like, who buys a CD player? Like, it just was really inconvenient. The laptop that I had at that time was like a Mac, and of course, it does not play CDs. So, yeah, Des, who taught Serena? Listen, you're right. She knows multiple languages. She is definitely very, very smart. And I would love to become what do they call it? A polyglot? I would love to know. I mean, I took Spanish in high school. That was so long ago. In college, but when you don't use something, you lose it. So I would love to be able, like Serena, to be able to speak multiple languages well, and she does. She's teaching her daughter as well. So I think when you move around, someone was asking me recently, like, in Istanbul. They were like, "So how many languages do you know?" And I was like, English, a little bit of French, a very, very little bit of French, and a very little bit of Spanish. The Spanish kind of comes back when I'm going to a when I'm in a Spanish speaking country. It'll come back a little bit, but again, it's not sustainable if I'm not focusing on it. So I would love to be able to yeah, to learn more languages. It is definitely a good skill to have. It is a little bit harder, I think, as I'm older, but it's like, okay, it may take a little bit more time, but we're not giving up. Yeah, Des, I literally had to go on Amazon to get this CD player because I was like, really? 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 Yeah, CD player. I was like, I don't believe this. And it's so crazy because like the laptop I have now, the laptop is a little bit older, and so it does have a CD slot. But it's like you can't even buy a laptop don't have. I mean, like, come on now. But yeah, I'm hoping they modernize it a little bit better than what they're doing. Maybe that step is being on Audible, because literally it's crazy. Just even with this, just it being more convenient on Audible is so much more easier and convenient for me because I can play it again when I'm on the train. I can just be wherever, doing what I need to do. It's been so much more convenient for me. So I'm so glad that that it's available on Audible because it was not at one point for sure. Yeah, your DVD player. Yeah, I can't tell you. I'm like, a DVD player. Do I even have one of those? Maybe in a storage box somewhere in Atlanta, maybe, or maybe I got rid of it because I was like, who uses a DVD player? Because remember when those things, like, you were balling if you had a nice DVD player, like you really were. Just goes to show you how things have changed, right? But yeah, it is definitely not convenient, and I'm hoping that this company or whatever, whoever is running it, will get with the times because they need that app pushed out. Like, it doesn't make sense that it's not on an app. Like, it really doesn't. So, but that is the language. This is the language method that I'm learning. I put that in the chat for those of you who might be interested, right? Thank you all, for those of you who donated. Thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. Anything else? Any other questions we want to have? Yeah, Des, there is an app, but I saw something saying that it was coming in 2024, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe I didn't check into it enough, but it looked like it wasn't ready. I was confused. He's got language programs, and he's got like French, Italian, Spanish. He's got a lot of stuff. Hey, Eleanor. Oh, you're familiar with it. Yes, pull out those CDs. Yes. I was working on lessons this morning, and I was like, okay, okay. I can see it coming together, right? I can see it coming together. It's listen, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it, but it's allowing, because what you do is, with the CD I have, with the Audible lesson I have, it's him, and then he's working with like two students. So he tells you to repeat everything as he's saying it, and he talks about not focusing, not remembering. He's very clear on it's not about repetition. So listen, yeah, I am it's working so far. Working so far. Thank you, Des. I will definitely stay safe. Listen, we are definitely going to stay safe this way. I was telling somebody recently that, yeah, if I see a protest, I'm heading the other direction. Um, not sticking around for that, but yeah, I think we're largely safe here. I say the same thing to folks back home, like, stay safe, because there's always something going on. And I get the concern because I've had people to reach out and ask me, am I okay? Is everything all right? I appreciate the concern. I do. And I realize that people see things on the news, they see things on CNN, and they get worried. I'm just appreciative when people think of me. So, If no one has any more questions, I'm going to call it a day. Don't forget, stay tuned. This week we're going to do the live co-work with me sessions. I'm thinking tomorrow at noon Eastern time. No, I'm sorry, 9 a.m. Eastern time. We'll start with that between 9 to 9:30 Eastern time. We'll do a quick co-work with me session. Again, that's designed if you're working remotely, you just want to tune in, you just want to see what I'm doing, working on, it'll be again beginning to complete this ebook. I need to get this thing done and out here. This Living in Paris ebook. We'll talk about that this week. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everyone. Thank you, Des. Have a great Sunday. I'm going to let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. And we'll talk more this week. Again, don't forget to share, like, comment on this video. What else? Buy me a coffee. What is the site? What is the URL? Buymeacoffee.com/Tanisha Mercer is one way to support my channel. Of course, again, sharing, liking, commenting are the other ways. Thank you so much. Thank you in my travels. Have a great afternoon, everyone. I will talk to you guys on YouTube later. Bye-bye.